Yo, it's Bernard, and welcome to another episode of the Angry Blerd podcast, where I will be discussing everything nerdy that has caught my eye this week. So, first things first, Hollywood might be cooked. And I know some of you are probably wondering why, but it's once again because Donald Trump is threatening to put tariffs on foreign-made films again. So, if you recall earlier this year, I feel like it might have been May or something like that. Trump was talking about putting tariffs on American movies that are not made in America. So he basically doubled down on what he said in May. So this past Monday, he said our movie-making business has been stolen from the United States of America by other countries, just like stealing candy from a baby. California, with this weak and incompetent governor, has been particularly hit hard. Therefore, in order to solve this long-time, never-ending problem, I will be imposing a 100% tariff on any and all movies made outside of the United States. He said, thank you for your attention on this matter. Make America great again. So back in May, he said the movie industry in America is dying a very fast death. Other countries are offering all sorts of incentives to draw our filmmakers and studios away from the United States. Hollywood and many other areas within the United States of America are being devastated. This is a concerted effort by other nations and therefore a national security threat. It is, in addition to anything else, messaging and propaganda. Therefore, I am authorizing the Department of Commerce and the United States Trade Representative to immediately begin the process of instituting a 100% tariff on any and all movies coming into our country that are produced in foreign lands. Dumb take. It's just cheaper to shoot in other countries. Like, for example, I watched Afterburn, which I will be reviewing later. That was shot, I believe, in Slovakia. And like all the CW shows, like Arrow, The Flash, Smallville, those were all shot in Canada. It's just like, what do you expect? It's like these movie studios want to save money because they're not getting proper tax incentives. Yeah. Afterburn was shot in Slugovia, not Sokovia, because that's not a real place. So unless you can work out something for the states to get some type of kickbacks for filming, for letting movie studios film in their respective states, and also give the production company some type of tax incentive, they're just going to keep shooting other places. And all that's going to do is make movie tickets go up to like basically like $30. Then my $5 Tuesdays is going to be $10 Tuesdays. IMAX tickets are already like almost $25, so those are going to go up to like $45. But yeah, it's just like America voted for a failed businessman who filed for bankruptcy several times and swears he thinks he knows everything. He really doesn't. The man couldn't even say acetaminophen in regards to Thailand. Anyway, next story. 20 years. 20 years have passed since this original movie came out, and we are finally getting a sequel. So, a few days ago, Disney and 20th Century Studios announced that we will be getting a second Simpsons movie. And that will be getting released on July 23rd, 2027. That's all we know. But they made the announcement with a poster of Homer going back for a donut that says Homer's coming back for seconds. And the sprinkles are just a bunch of twos. So almost 20 years to the date, because the first Simpsons movie was released July 27th, and it told the story of Springfield being covered in a dome. And the movie made $500 million. So I don't know what made them wait 20 years. Besides Bart actually writing on the board, I will not wait 20 years to make a sequel. And I don't know if that was in the movie, because I swear I think I've only seen the movie like 4 times. And I think I still own the DVD. I would have to check my storage unit. Pretty much around the time it will be on its 40th season of TV when the movie comes out. And everyone's wondering, is the movie going to be the final story of The Simpsons? Because I think they're renewed up till like season 39. They usually do The Simpsons with like 2 season renewals. But I don't know. And I can't wait to see what the story in this movie is going to be about. Because the only thing that everyone really remembers from that movie is Spider-Pig. But Yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do? Next story, little small blurb, but it's a guy who's been in our lives for years and years and years. Is joined Highlander, and that is none other than Jeremy Irons. So no idea on who he will be playing just yet. And if you have no idea who Jeremy Irons is for some weird reason, because you don't keep up with actors, unless it's like the big names who are like current, like Chris Pratt, Chris Pine, Chris Hemsworth, Robert Downey Jr., so on and so forth. So I'm gonna give you some movies that Jeremy Irons starred in that you may remember. But I am going to start with the first movie that I saw Jeremy Irons, and that was The Lion King. He provided the voice of Scar, which came out in 1994, 31 years ago. Good grief. Then Die Hard with a Vengeance. He played Simon Gruber. The Man in the Iron Mask. He was Aramis. 2000's Dungeons and Dragons movie. I don't remember who else was in this movie. Who else was in this? I feel like, Marlon Wayans was in this. Justin Whalen, Thora Birch. Yeah, I don't think this movie made any money. Yeah, it bombed. But a $45 million budget. The Time Machine. Starred Guy Pearce. Was it Guy Pearce? And Samantha Mumba, who was a singer. Oh, yeah, I was right. Guy Pearce. Orlando Jones was an AI. Yeah, very good movie. I think Jeremy Irons was the villain in that as well. I'm double checking that. I really gotta do something about when my voice gets all high pitched. Jeremy Irons was the Uber Morlock. Yep, leader of the Morlocks. Aragon, I didn't see, but I remember him being a big deal in that. The Pink Panther 2, he was the villain in that. Then after that, I didn't see anything with him in it until about 2016 when he played Alfred in Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Forgot he was in Assassin's Creed. I try to forget that movie with every bit of my being. Red Sparrow, Justice League, obviously Zack Snyder's Justice League, The Flash. Forgot, yeah, the cameo on The Flash. So yeah, like I said, no idea on who he's playing yet, but just to give you guys a refresher on who is in this movie, Henry Cavill is the lead. He got hurt, but he's slowly recovering. Russell Crowe, Marissa Abella, have no idea who that is. Dave Bautista, Karen Gillan, and John Manhunsu. Production will begin on that sometime early 2026. All right, what is my next story? So since you guys made Batman Deadpool issue 1 sell out dramatically, don't forget Deadpool Batman comes out next month, I believe. Comes out in November. I have to double check the sources on that one. So this will be the Marvel publication with all different stories. It's just not a reprint on the same. It's just not a reprint on the Marvel. So we're getting another DC Marvel team up next year, and this one made the fanboys very excited, and that will be Superman and Spider-Man. So Superman and Spider-Man had a crossover 50 years ago in 1976. So it was called Superman versus the Amazing Spider-Man: The Battle of the Century. Basically, it was a story that was like, who would win in the fight, Superman or Spider-Man? Never read it. It was before my time, back when comics, they were very kooky and like characters weren't really fleshed out or anything. But yeah, so in March 2026, DC will publish Superman Spider #1, which will be followed by Marvel publishing in April Spider-Man Superman #1. So all we know, that's all we know. But also we found out that in January of next year, DC will publish a Treasury edition of Superman versus the Amazing Spider-Man. Then in February, there will also be a DC and Marvel presents Spider-Man and Superman Treasury edition, which is actually a reprint of the Marvel Treasury edition 28, which is an out of print team-up book. I wonder who's going to be writing this, because on the DC side, who is writing Superman at the moment? I don't remember who's writing Superman because I'm behind on Superman. But Marvel, you got Joe Kelly on Spider-Man, and I wonder what will be the backup short stories, because I liked the Daredevil Green Arrow one. The Captain America Wonder Woman one was good. I said, the only one I really didn't, even though I don't like Jeff the Land Shark, I read it. It was just Jeff and Crypto playing volleyball or something like that. It was a nice, light-hearted story, like near the fortress. But yeah, other than that, hopefully we get some more information on said team up book very, very soon. Well, crossover, not team up. Who knows? They might team up. Deadpool and Batman eventually ended up teaming up. Thought it was just going to be like some type of weird crossover, and Deadpool gets his ass kicked by Batman, but that happened. But then they teamed up and stopped the Joker. All right. A Quiet Place Part 3 has an update. No casting whatsoever. It's just been delayed from July 9th to July 30th, 2027. And this is to avoid clashing with Superman Man of Tomorrow. And a few people were like, why would they do that? Simple, because A Quiet Place is on Paramount and you don't want to go toe-to-toe with Superman. Like, not that many movies came out around the time Superman came out. They either came out before Superman, like Jurassic World Rebirth, or after. And those that came out after really didn't break the bank. Perfect example, Fantastic Four First Steps. I think it only made like 450, 500 million, somewhere around there. Superman made 615, and then Snyder Bros are still losing their shit. Like, oh, it didn't make as much as Man of Steel because people aren't going to the movies as much. In a era where streaming really wasn't, it was a thing, but it really wasn't a thing. Like that was what, 2013. So there was no HBO Max, there was no Paramount Plus, there was no Peacock. It was like Netflix and Hulu. But anyway, next story before I go on my break. So Final Destination 7 will have a new director. And that will be Mikhail Blankhart. I've never seen this person before. While it will be written by Laurie Evans Taylor, who co-wrote Final Destination Bloodlines. I'm looking up Mikhail Blankhart's filmography to see if he's done any movies I've ever seen before. Possibly not, because he is Belgian. His first movie was called Night Call. It came out last year, and it looks like it was a Belgian film that set overnight during the Black Lives Matter protests in Belgium. Yeah, never seen it. Came out, like I said, last year. I don't think it had a U.S. release date. So I really want to know where we're going to go with the Final Destination franchise, especially since Bloodlines pretty much wrapped up everything as far as the original 6 movies goes. Like, because unfortunately Tony Todd is no longer with us, so who will be the quote unquote avatar of death, as we all thought he was? But I was so glad the way they tied up his character and having him survive death all these years and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, guys. I do know one thing. I am going to take a break. I'm going to drink this Tiger's Blood. This is the last good Tiger's Blood, actually. I need to hurry up soon. I'll maybe try a new flavor, but yeah, be right back.
This episode is brought to you by Dubby. Dubby gives you focus and energy without the crash and jitters. It has no sugar, fillers, or artificial dyes. Mix 1 packet or scoop into 8 or 12 ounces of water. Stir or shake well. Some powderiness is normal, and it has all the important vitamins. So this has vitamin C, B3, B6, and B12. And it's made from coffee fruit extract. So drink it and go conquer a task. And go to Debbie.gg and use my promo code AngryBlerd10 at checkout to save 10% on your order. That's Debbie.gg with promo code AngryBlerd10.
All right, guys, I'm back. So it's been what, 3 years? 4 years? So Fast X. There's a local one that did to be called Fast 10 Your Seatbelts. 2 years since Fast X was released. Movie came out 2023. And everyone's like, yo, what's going on with, Fast 11, Fast 10 2, whatever it's called? It's simply this. There's a lot of Hollywood hoopla and hoops they got to jump through to get this movie made. and that's mainly coming from Universal side. So there was a report from the Wall Street Journal that reveals that Fast 11 lacks not only a hard date or an approved script, but it may leave some character space up in the air. And the executives at Universal are willing to make the movie unless there's a way to produce it far more economically than Fast 10, which barely turned a profit. So they want to make Fast 11 for $200 million, especially since Fast 10 cost $340 million to make. So they basically, it seems like they want to do what Vin Diesel wants to do. He wants to keep it, he wants to basically go back to the beginning of the Fast and Furious franchise, which is kind of hard to do, especially the way Fast 10 wrapped up with them in like Brazil, and half the team quote unquote dead, and Giselle coming back from the dead, and then Dom and his son possibly being killed by an avalanche. All I know is this: we just need to hurry up and wrap this franchise up, because it's been 20 something years. The Fast and Furious franchise has been around almost as long as the last Simpsons movie, and I feel like it predates that. So actually, let's look this up. When did the first Fast and Furious? I feel like that came out when I was in high school. The first Fast and the Furious movie came out in 2001. Yes, I was in my freshman year of high school. I'm sorry, I just finished my freshman year of high school. June 22nd, 2001. Oh, no, I was going to my freshman year of high school, because I was in school during 9/11, my freshman year. So yeah, I mean, this is what happens when you take something as simple as street racing and you jump the shark with it. Like, perfect example. It really started to go off the rails because nobody really liked Tokyo Drift, and I think that might have been because none of the original characters showed up except for Vin Diesel for like 2 seconds at the end. So yeah, like I'm looking at the box office now for Tokyo Drift. Budget was $85 million, made $159 million in the box office. But Fast and Furious was where they started going a little bit crazy and let it dying. Movie made $360 million with the $85 million budget. I'm not talking about budgets as far as how the budget increases. I'm just talking about as far as like the story goes, because at this point they were still racing, and the worst they did was they went to Panama, and this was basically a revenge story. And then Fast 5 comes in, you bring in The Rock, you're going to Brazil, budget increases $225 million, made $626 million. And then you just keep upping the stakes with every single movie. Fast 6, you bring in Owen Shaw. So yeah, more shenanigans. $260 million budget. Box office $778. F7. Once again, up in the stakes. $250 million. This one made $1.5 billion. Okay, and I think that's because, unfortunately, this was the last one Paul Walker was in, so everybody had to see that. All right, let's check out Fate of the Furious. $250 to $270 million budget, $1.2 billion. So 7 and 8 made the most, and a lot of people don't really like 8. Hobbs and Shaw. Check out Hobbs and Shaw. $200 million budget, $760 million box office. F9. So F9 pandemic movie surprisingly made $726 million with a $225 million budget. And like I said, Fast X, $378 million budget with $714 million. So yeah, I mean, can we just wrap this up? All right. So we got to figure out a way to, I almost said stop Jason Derulo, stop Jason Momoa and Alan Richardson. And then, y'all really got to wrap up Brian's story. You can't just be at home with the kids all the time. Okay. Especially in a situation like this. This would have been your Black Panther moment. You could have had Brian be killed off screen and have Jason Momoa's character take the kids. What was his character's name anyway? I don't even remember. But yeah, have him take the kids, Dante Reyes. Have him take the kids. Yeah. You're just at this point. Oh yeah, Brian's staying at home, but yeah, here's Mia. But anyway, are you a fan of Quentin Tarantino movies? I am, but the big question is, what is your favorite Quentin Tarantino movie? Mine might be Pulp Fiction, but this at a close second. So Quentin Tarantino is re-releasing Kill Bill as a supercut. And this will be coming out December 5th. It's called Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair. He said, I wrote and directed it as one movie, so I'm going to give the fans a chance to see it as one movie. The best way to see Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair is at a movie theater and glorious 70 millimeter or 35 millimeter. Blood and guts on the big screen in all its glory. So it looks like, there's going to be a few nips and tucks to make it more cohesive. And it's going to have a runtime of 250 minutes. So that's what, 4 hours and 10 minutes with an intermission. I don't know if I'm going to go see this in theaters. And if they release like a Blu-ray version of it, I feel like they did, then I'll get that. But going to see this in theaters, I don't know. I do know they just released both Kill Bill movies on 4K Blu-ray for the first time. I'm checking. No, they never did release the whole Bloody Affair. They've always been released as separate movies or combo packs. So it looks like maybe next year we will get the whole Bloody Affair 4K Blu-ray, which I'll get because I've slowly been rebuying some of the Blu-rays I have to get 4Ks, unless it's a Warner Brothers movie, because they just screwed over everybody. Warner Brothers, I noticed this when I got Sinners, they are no longer giving people the Blu-ray disc if you get the 4K, or if you just get the Blu-ray, you don't get the DVD. So you just get your 4K in your digital copy or your Blu-ray in your digital copy, which is just like, I think I complained about this already, but anyway, if y'all gonna do that, y'all need to lower the price by like $5 each. All right. Anyway, next story. James Gunn was doing an interview with IGN, and he was talking about The Brave and the Bold in regards to Damian Wayne's parentage. So he said, I think you'll have to wait to see the movie. Some things have changed, and plenty of things are in flux with on what his situation is with his parentage and all that stuff. So I wouldn't take any of it. I mean, yeah, the actor who wants to listen. First of all, I can't tell you the amount of big actors that have told me they want to be Batman. I think you have a harder time finding actors who don't want to be Batman. He's the one character everyone wants to play, and that's the truth. So yeah, I mean, that just seemed like a bunch of weird cohesive nonsense. Because, all right, so quick rundown on Damian Wayne. Damian obviously is Bruce Wayne's son. He is also Talia al Ghul's son. So he's Ra's al Ghul's grandson. So when Damian first comes into Bruce's life, he's about 10 years old or so. So you got to get somebody who's maybe 10 to 12 to play Damian. And this is the issue with doing live action comic properties when you have a character like Batman. So you have to get somebody maybe in their late 30s, early 40s, because I'm trying to think when Christian Bale did Batman Begins, he was about 35 or so. So mid-30s, I think he might have been 31. Let me look this up real quick, because that's going to be one of those things that bothers the hell out of me. What was Christian Bale? Christian Bale was 31 years old when he filmed Batman Begins. So yeah, maybe you can get someone like that, and have be like Bruce was Batman for roughly 5 years or so, because Bruce left Gotham as a teenager in the comics, late teens, early 20s. Basically the same story as Batman Begins. So he could have come back around 25 or so, did the whole Ra's al Ghul stuff. Get drugged. I think he got raped by Talia. I'm not entirely sure. I never read that story because that was like before I was reading comics. I have the book of Damien's first appearance. Batman and Son, written by Grant Morrison, art by it's either Andy or Adam Kubert. They have the same similar art style since they're brothers and their father taught them how to draw. But that's not the point. So you can get somebody who's anywhere between 30 and 40 to play Bruce, and get a kid like between like 8 and 12 to play Damien. So I don't get what's so complicated, honestly. But who knows? What's going on with the DCU? Because like some of this stuff might not be coming out that he announced, like the Authority. I mean, there's rumors that Booster Gold might be dead in the water. Also rumors that Viola Davis might not be wanting to do the Waller series. But I don't know what's what. I really don't know what's what. But this is possibly my last trailer reaction, since YouTube wants to be bitches. And I got wasn't a copyright strike, but it was a copyright warning because I did the trailer reaction to It Welcome to Derry. So I don't know if it's just Warner Brothers trailers or what. But so this is for Frankenstein, because I don't think I got in trouble for anything Netflix related, and this is a Netflix movie. So let's go ahead and check this out. This is Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein that stars Jacob Elordi, Mia Goth, Felix Kramer, David Bradley, Lars Mikkelsen, Christian Conley, Charles Dance, Christoph Waltz, and I feel like Oscar Isaac is in this as well, playing Dr. Frankenstein. Well, Jacob Elordi is playing Frankenstein's monster. Anyway, let's go. Really have to sign in to confirm I'm not a bot. All right, let me turn off my VPN. That's probably what's doing it. Refresh this page. Here we go.
My maker told his tale. And I will tell you mine.
Academy Award winner Guillermo del Toro, director of Pan's Labyrinth in the Shape of Water. So Screwblade 2 and Pacific Rim.
Pieces.
Okay.
Memories of different men. And I saw it. Your name. Victor Frankenstein.
Yep, Oscar Isaac is in this one.
My creator.
Only monsters.
I demand a single grace from you.
The hell? Like that.
If you are not to award me love, then I will indulge in rage.
Oh wow, this version of Frankenstein is strong as hell. October 17th in theaters and on Netflix November 7th. So the main reason why Netflix is putting this in theaters is just like everybody else. So then they could be qualified to win an Oscar. They did that with that movie Roma. Apple TV does it all the time. That's why Apple got the award for Coda, about the children of deaf adults. So yeah, this looks like it's going to be good. I mean, you don't really get a good glimpse at Frankenstein, and I think that's the point. don't want to spoil it all in one go. But I like Jacob Elordi. He plays what's his name? Maddie McKibben? Where's Maddie McKibben, the guy from that show Awkward? Let's just look up Jacob Elordi. But he's on Euphoria. And I always forget that he's Australian. Did not see Saltburn because I heard that movie was weird. Like it was either him or Barry Keoghan. Their wife or girlfriend died. I'm sorry, he plays Nate Jacobs on Euphoria. And yeah, one of them just ended up fucking like the ground where she got buried. Oh, okay. Christian Convery's in this as well. He was in Sweet Tooth, Cocaine Bear, and The Monkey. He also provides the voice of Oliver on Invincible. So yeah, Oscar Isaac is Victor Frankenstein. Jacob Elordi is the creature, aka Frankenstein's monster. Mia Goth is Elizabeth Lavenza. Who the hell is William? William's fiance. Who's William's fiance, who Victor has feelings for. William Frankenstein is played by Felix Kramer, who is an Austrian actor. Who I don't think I've ever seen anything with him in it before. Nope. Who else is in this? Christoph Waltz, who we all know from Django Unchained, The Green Hornet, Inglourious Bastards, Spectre. Lars Mikkelsen is the brother of Mads Mikkelsen. He was in The Witcher. He played Admiral Thrawn and Ahsoka. He was on House of Cards. Sherlock. I think that's all I know him from. Because he is, Swedish? Danish. So, I don't really watch that many Dutch movies. Oh, I'm about to say, he did a Danish dub of Naruto. Learn something new every day. Charles Dance, who has been in my life since Last Action Hero. He's still in that. Everybody knows him mainly from Game of Thrones. Like if you go to his Wikipedia, that's like one of the first things that shows up. He was on The Crown, Godzilla, King of Monsters, Dracula Untold, Alien 3, The Golden Child. So Sweet Brother Nunce. Great. I want to listen to Gone by Kanye West. Lauren Collins. I have no idea who Lauren Collins is. She was on Degrassi, The Next Generation, Charlie Bartlett, David Bradley. I know David Bradley played Argus Filch in the Harry Potter movies. Abraham Satakin in The Strain on FX, which I really want to rewatch. Ralph Ensign, who we just saw as Galactus. Bern Gorman, I know from Torchwood. He was also on Game of Thrones. He played Carl Tanner. He was also in Pacific Rim. He was the scientist with the limp. But yeah, October 17th for theaters, November 7th for Netflix. And so far, this movie has an 80% on Rotten Tomatoes. All right, what is my final story before I get into my reviews? So, Captain Planet has a comic out, and I believe I told you guys Leonardo DiCaprio was either producing a film or a television series about Captain Planet, and Glen Powell was attached to be in it. Don't know who he was going to play him. Maybe play Wheeler, maybe play Captain Planet. So, doing an interview during the promotion, Chad Powers was Screen Rant. He said, yeah, that's no longer in my hands. They're going to take it and run with it. But yeah, I wish them the best with that one. I've been a passionate fan of Captain Planet since I was a kid. Obviously, some things that you make in this town find their way quickly. Some of them don't. There was a lot of rights holders and things like that around it. A lot of opinions. So I'm no longer the guy running with the pretend. But they're going to try to make something great, I'm sure. So, I mean, Glen Powell has been doing a lot in Hollywood. Not that I've seen much of Glen Powell's stuff. I've seen Anyone But You. I still haven't watched Top Gun Maverick. Haven't watched Hitman. I'm waiting for The Running Man to come out. I did not watch that Spy Kids movie he was in. Spy Kids 3D. So let me go to like the movies that I've seen Glen Powell in. So The Dark Knight Rises, he was one of the stock exchange traders. He was in The Expendables 3. That cast was so big, I don't really remember who else was in there. So that Ride Along 2? Okay. Yeah, I really haven't seen that many Glen Powell movies. So Dark Knight Rises, Expendable 3, Ride Along 2, Anyone But You. Still haven't watched Twisters. I still haven't watched Hitman. I'm going to check that one out. What the hell is Set It Up? Looks like a rom-com with Taye Diggs, Lucy Liu, Zoe Deutch. Yeah, you say her name. Rick and Morty. I keep meaning to check out Chad Power, so I'm going to watch that on Hulu. But yeah, I mean, I think he would have been Captain Planet. Anyway, that's enough of that. Let's go ahead and cue up the spoiler alert, shall we? So I am getting ready to talk about the last 2 episodes of Marvel Zombies on Disney Plus. So both episodes directed by Brian Andrews and also written by Zeb Wells, but the story by Brian Andrews and Zeb Wells. So episode 3 was a very good episode. We get a flashback of Peter talking to the reigning sorceress of Carmitage about the Wakanda event. So there's Peter, Scott Langshead, and T'Challa arriving to Wakanda, seeing that it's been conquered by zombie Thanos. They try to take out Thanos, and a la Infinity War, Thor, Rocket, and Groot show up with the whole, bring me Thanos situation. So, like, if you watch this, it's basically most parallel to the MCU up until a certain point. So, Thanos kills Rocket, and Groot burns the hell out of Thor. After getting the Mind Stone, T'Challa sacrifices himself and pushes Thanos into the vibranium core of Wakanda, which basically destroys the Infinity Stones, which releases a surge of energy. So, while Peter and Scott are trying to flee from it, they get saved by the sorcerers of Carmitage. So, that's it for the flashback. Meanwhile, we jump back to the present, where after, Yelena sacrificed herself, so Kamala, Alexei, Shang-Chi, Katie, Zemo, and I think that was it. All survive. They make it to New Asgard. Oh, and Moonblade, Blade Knight. So yeah, Valkyrie denies them entrance, but then Blade Knight tells her that he is an avatar of Khonshu, and she agrees to let them in. So the Asgardians have been having a delightful buffet of food thanks to the Queen of Sokovia, where Zemo was like, yo, Sokovia doesn't have a queen, and you find out that it's Wanda, who is indeed the Queen of the Dead, and she has been feeding the Asgardians discarded zombies, which indeed turns them all into zombies, which includes Alexei. Thor has basically been broken more or less the same way he was broken after not being able to defeat Thanos in Infinity War. Valkyrie takes Game Master ship, and Valkyrie, Kamala, Blade Knight, Katie, Shang-Chi all escape, but Alexei does not make it. Oh yeah, Death Dealer also doesn't make it. Jimmy Woo makes it. No, he doesn't. So yeah, Alexei gets turned into a zombie. Thor fights Wanda to help them escape. They activate the transmitter, but you find out that the Nova Corps has already been to Earth and has basically deemed Earth a quarantine zone. So I was like, wait, what? So they knew about it and they didn't try to do anything about it. So they knew about the zombie outbreak and didn't do anything. They were just like, nope, barricade this planet off. Because like Deathbird said in X-Men 97, Earth is a ghetto. So episode 4, the Nova Corps shoot down the ship and everybody almost dies. But the sorcerers of Carmitage saved them at the last minute because Kamala made a hard light shield as they were getting ready to burn up in the Earth's atmosphere. They wake up and find out about the Wakanda event and that the stone energy is being contained by Banner, who is basically become the Infinity Hulk. Wanda, once that infinity energy to basically remake the world in her own image. And the sorcerers say we have to stop Wanda before she can arrive to, touch Hulk. So everyone goes to Wakanda. Kamala and gang have to fight the versions of people that they've already seen. So Hawkeye is back. Zombie, Red Guardian, Yelena, Jimmy Woo, Death Dealer. Meanwhile, during this whole battle, everyone starts to fall one by one. Sarah Wolf, who is one of the sorcerers, the masters of the London Sanctum, Rentara, Valkyrie, Blade Knight all get killed. Infinity Hulk beats Zombie Thor, but that leaves him open to Wanda taking his power. But then Kamala, who had a vision of all this, eventually reaches for Wanda's hand, wakes up, and the world's back to normal. She goes, Kate and Riri show up at her doorstep. They go and have coffee, but then Kamala starts having flashes of the zombie world, and you see that Riri is saying that she hacked the system, and what she's seeing is not real. So I was like, okay, this was a lot to take in. I'm so glad they didn't show Spider-Man get killed, but it's pretty much implied that he is dead since it was a giant soldier from San Francisco. Basically had his head in his mouth. So I was like, okay, can we give Zeb Wells a break now? Because everyone hates Zeb Wells who reads comics because of the editorial decisions that people at Marvel made him do, inventing, Paul, and everyone hates Paul. So, very good show. I really wish we got another 4 episodes, because most of the half-hour Marvel shows, they're 8 episodes, but this isn't a sitcom. Man, so I honestly got to give this show a 10. I'm probably going to rewatch it around the time of Halloween. So I got 3 weeks until Halloween or something like that. I still have to watch It and It Chapter 2. But oh man, this was a good episode. This was a good miniseries, and I really hope it's not a miniseries. I really hope they bring it back for another season. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about Gen V. Okay, so this is season 2, episode 5, I want to say. Yeah, The Kids Are Not All Right, directed by Karen Gaviola, written by Lauren Greer. So we get a flashback sequence of Cypher taking care of his father when Sister Sage shows up, and basically they get down dirty in front of his father, who I really think is Thomas Godolphin. We jump back to the present after the fight of Cypher taking control of Marie. He threatens to take her and her friends back to Elmira with Kate, who he actually imprisoned. So Marie eventually convinces Jordan and Emma to rescue Kate. Emma tries to get Sam to help, but Sam's like, no. Sam eventually goes back home to see his parents. And he finds out the reason why he was handed over to Bot is because they couldn't control him. And he accidentally injures his father, Jordan, and Marie. And Emma all enter Elmira, but they get captured. Marie gets injected with a coagulant, so she can't use her blood-bending powers on herself. And Cypher also tells her that, he has her sister, Annabelle. And then we cut to a scene of Cypher and Polarity talking about Andre. And Cypher says that, I was trying to push him to his powers, but, it didn't work. Polarity threatens to kill Cypher by using his magnetism powers to hold a knife to his head, above his neck. Cypher grabs a knife, stabs himself in the hand. He's like, okay, whatever. Go about your day. Polarity ends up having a seizure later on. Kate is able to get her power inhibitor collar off and takes control of the guard. She gets the key to take off said inhibitor collars. They all break out. Marie goes to Annabelle's cell where she sees her dead. Marie actually uses her powers to bring her sister back to life by almost killing Emma, Kate, and Jordan. So yeah, I mean, is she one of the most powerful suits around? Maybe, but good grief. Sam also finds out that his grandfather was either schizophrenic or bipolar. I can't remember, but this episode was a lot to take in, and I felt so bad for Sam, because like I said, his parents gave him up just because they couldn't control his episodes. But man, this is almost up there with I can't remember what show it was. United States of Terror, but she had DID. All right, Peacemaker, season 2, episode 7. Like a Thief in the Night, directed by Thea Jones, obviously written by James Gunn. So, picking up where we left off with Earth X Amelia demanding that Prime, Chris, and Harcourt get arrested by Argus, but they eventually end up escaping. Augie and Keith. Augie has economics tied up. Calls Keith back to the house, where he tells him the whole situation with the dimensional gateway. He met another version of himself. Ayabato is still running from basically everyone in the neighborhood when she gets saved by Judah Master. Rick Flag Sr. and Sasha Bodo end up working with Sidney Happerson, who we saw in Superman. Figures out a way to locate the dimensional rift, which is at Adrian's house. Augie and Smith eventually save Harcourt and Chris while they interrogate him, but then they are interrupted by some cops who shows up to Augie's house looking for Chris. And the two vigilantes eventually link up with Judah Master and Adebayo outside of Augie and Keith's house. Augie says that he's going to allow Chris and his friends to leave the dimension and never come back, although Keith is upset because Prime Chris killed his brother. Adrian sneaks up and kills Augie, to Chris and Keith freaking out. But then the cops eventually come in, a bunch of crap ensues. Both Adrians kill a bunch of cops. Harcourt attempts to kill Keith because she doesn't want him following them back to their universe. But they eventually all make it back to Earth Prime, where Argus is getting ready to invade Adrian's house, but they all come out. Peacemaker surrenders, gives Rick Flag Sr. the dimensional rift, tells him that all of them are innocent. They convinced me to turn all this stuff in, and he gets arrested. Judah Master also agrees with what Peacemaker told him. But yeah, that's how the episode ends. And Harcourt does not kill Keith, so I really think Keith is going to figure out a way to make it to the Prime universe, despite the fact that they closed the portal on their end. And this was a very good episode with the follow-up of the Earth X crossover. Although James Gunn was on he was doing a interview with GQ, and he was surprised that people were surprised. I mean, he was surprised that people figured it out so soon. And I'm just like, bro, I mean, I figured it out as like episode 2, episode 3, something like that. So, my biggest question with this episode of TV is, what vigilante killed Augie? Was it vigilante of Earth X, or was it Chris's friend? In their defense, they didn't know what the hell was going on. But yeah, crazy episode of TV. But now I'm going to talk about Afterburn. Really, I typed in my name, After Bernard. This is a movie that's directed by J.J. Perry, based off the comic by Scott Chitwood and Paul Ince, which I told you guys about, which is getting re-released. Stars Dave Bautista, Samuel L. Jackson, Olga Kulinko, and Christoph Hivju. The story is set a decade after Earth's technology was decimated by a solar flare. This movie was actually supposed to come out years ago, but like in 2018, but then production restarted last year. So like I told you guys about a week and a half ago, I was surprised that this movie dropped like out of the blue, because when I did the original trailer reaction, it did not have a release date. So I actually just watched this about an hour, 2 hours ago before I started recording. Very good movie. Dave Bautista plays Jake, who is an ex-soldier who works as a treasure hunter, seeking pre-solar flare objects for customers, including the Mona Lisa. Sam Jackson plays August Valentine, who is the king of England, who is trying to rebuild the country. Over Carlito is Drea, who is a freedom fighter, and Christoph is General Volkov, who is a warlord who rules France. So Jake is recruited by August to retrieve the Mona Lisa, which he has to go to France to get. And Drea is his contact over there. So they make their way through France, find the Mona Lisa, which actually turns out not to be the real Mona Lisa, but it is a nuclear warhead, which is dubbed the Mona Lisa. There's 3 of them. And Volkov wants this, so he eventually tracks them down and basically kills everybody but Drea. Jake and Drea take out Volkov, just let the warhead end up at the bottom of an ocean. Jake goes back to August, tells him look, man, if you want the warhead, you got to go get it. But here's the key. I'm done. Give me my boat, whatever. So I enjoyed the movie, but my problem with this movie was I just felt like things were a bit rushed. The movie is about an hour and 45 minutes long. Maybe could use another 10 minutes of filming. But all in all, like I said, I enjoyed the movie. Rewatchability goes, I don't know how often I will rewatch this movie, but I will honestly have to give it a 6. Mainly just because a lot of the stuff looked like it was green screen, despite the fact that it was shot in Slovakia. There's a scene where Sam Jackson and Bautista are having a conversation. It's in the trailer. It looks like it was legit shot on the green screen, despite the fact that you see them. You see Bautista walk into a warehouse and they sit down and have dinner. It's like nobody in the background of this movie. I get it. You shoot probably with a f1.3 focal length, so a blurry background, but it still gives green screen. If anything, they should have enhanced that just a little bit more. The color grading could have been a little bit better. I did not see this in theaters. I set up the 7 Cs because I'm broke at the moment. The sound quality definitely needed a boost as well. I basically had to turn my sound bar not all the way up, but I had to turn it up more than usual. So yeah, 6 out of 10 for me. Somebody actually uploaded this whole movie on YouTube. I'm surprised it has not been taken down yet. But yeah, this movie is not doing well at the box office because, like I said, this was a quiet release. When I did the initial trailer reaction, it hadn't released date, and then all of a sudden, the same week as him comes out, it's out. It's like, wait, what now? Why would y'all do that? Anyway, $56 million budget, only made $373,000 at the moment. And it's been out for 2 weeks. So yeah, I think that's it for Afterburn. Speaking of things, that's it. That's it for me with this podcast. So, guys, that was another episode of the Angry Blerd podcast. Be sure to rate, review, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Go to w.gg.gg. Use my promo code AngryBlerd10 at checkout to save 10% on your order. No movies coming out that I am aware of that I need to do anytime soon. So yeah, next week will just be Peacemaker and then be to the best of my knowledge. If something comes up. Deuces.